James Gunn yet again has denied that Robert Pattinson will be the DCU Batman, saying it's not part of the plan. Then, James, what is the plan? Do you know the plan? Do you know who's going to be the DCU Batman? Will he appear in your Superman movie? Do you have any idea what you're actually doing? Because these rumors are becoming insane. But the main part of today's video is a huge exclusive about the Black Superman movie, which is being produced by J.J. Abrams and written by Tanashi. It's still in active development. They're still planning on making it, according to my sources, and releasing it. Let's discuss what's going on. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X, Twitter, at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad. X on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60, Mick, your host with the most. So a very warm welcome to Saturday's edition of the DCU Daily. So yes, huge exclusive for you today that the Black Superman movie, according to my sources, is still happening. And here's the big thing for you. They want Ryan Coogler to direct it. Now, I don't know if I believe this. It's from a source. I get lots of information. Look, I think we're dealing with a very, very clown studio and outfit. But reading the details of Tanashi Coates' idea, even though I don't agree with having a black kalel, last son of Krypton, Clark Kent, I don't agree with that. You know, that version of Superman is white. There are other black versions of Superman in the comics that you can use, right? President Superman, etc., 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 which they don't want to do. They want to culturally swap, you know, the culture and colour of the main Superman. So I don't agree with that. Let's be absolutely clear. And I don't believe me believing that, having that opinion, makes me a bigot. But anyway, I digress. So Tanashi Coates is writing this movie. As far as I know, he's still been writing this movie. He's been writing quite a few treatments of this movie. And they want Ryan Coogler to direct it. And it will still be produced by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is still kind of involved over Warner Brothers Discovery. So I repeat, this Black Superman movie that's always been in active development now wants Ryan Coogler to direct it. And as I say, the actual story, if you take away from the fact that it would be a black Clark Kent, last son of Krypton, actually the story is kind of interesting. It's set in the 90s. And the story itself, I don't think is problematic. And it could be a very, very interesting movie. But you're releasing James Gunn's Superman film, and then you're releasing this film. You're looking to make this film. It's insane to me. How many versions of the same character can we have? There's already been this debate about having a DCU Batman and having a Reeves-verse Batman. You know, can you have too much of a good thing? There's no question about it. The DCU Batman is going to be very different to the from the Reeves-verse Batman. And this Superman of colour will be very different, in a different setting than James Gunn's Superman movie. So, obviously, the Black Superman movie will be part of DC Elseworlds. So there is that to consider. So this came out, you know, last night. I mean, I posted about this yesterday. I genuinely, because when they say active development, what that means is it's in active development, but it's never going to bloody happen. Well, it looks like they're getting back on the bike, back on the train of the Black Superman movie, and I think it's because maybe they're worried about James Gunn's Superman. Maybe they think if that goes south, they're going to focus on DC Elseworlds. I think that's what they'll do. If this Superman movie is going to fail, I do not know if it's going to fail. I don't know how people are going to respond to this film. But if it was to fail, I think DC Elseworlds is a place they're going to focus on. And DC Elseworlds will be this thing where you can basically do anything about anything, but it's not connected to anything else. And I said at the very beginning, this is what they should be doing. Getting auteurs with actual visions for these DC characters to do standalone movies, standalone trilogies, or whatever, right? And you could bring back Zack Snyder to finish off his Justice League arc. You can, because it's just Elseworlds. It's nothing to do with any connected universe. But if Superman fails, there will not be any DCU. There will not be any connected universe. They will be insane to get rid of Gunn and get someone else to continue the DCU. If the first movie fails, it's a problem. A huge problem. You can't continue. But the problem is, they're shooting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow right now. Or apparently they've completed shooting it, but then they keep on showing us pictures of Supergirl fighting and things like that. So I'm not quite sure. I was led to believe the movie had finished production, but we're still seeing pictures on location. So that's interesting in itself. So if Superman fails, you've still got a Supergirl movie that needs to be released. You've got a Lantern show that needs to be released. So this is why you don't announce a slate. That's why you don't green light any other projects until Superman is released. But they didn't do that. So they either have to be very confident about this Superman movie or they're lunatics. And this Black Superman movie was hugely problematic from the very beginning. They wanted to replace Henry Cavill with this Black Superman. And who's going to play this Black Superman? We know that Michael B. Jordan was going to play another version of a Black Superman that was going to be a Max streaming movie or show, whatever they were going to do. That's not a thing anymore. Could Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler team up for that? Very, very interesting. They're going to make an offer to Coogler to do something DC. I can guarantee you about that. There's no avoiding that. But that's what I'm hearing, that this Black Superman movie is a thing and they want Coogler to direct it. Very, very interesting, isn't it? We live in a very, very crazy, divisive world right now. There's no question about it. This Superman movie would be very, very divisive because Tanashi Coates I think he's written some comics, he's written some books, he's a left-wing activist, so you can see where he's coming from, and there's a lot of people on the right who don't like Tanashi Coates. So here we go again, left versus right, with the rest of us, sane, moderate people, like looking either side, hoping they don't notice us. It's a crazy world right now, but that's what I've been told, that they're going back into finishing the script, that Tanashi Coates finishing this script and trying to persuade Ryan Coogler to direct this movie. Whether this is true or not, I don't know. It's all very messy in the DC universe right now, but this is what happens when you've got people who don't understand the industry they're working in. They don't understand, because they're all so politically obsessed and so politically motivated. Look at the things we've heard about this Superman movie. The whole point of the mutant monkeys is to say they're trolls and bots, spreading misinformation, which is very, very political. It's a very political take, isn't it? It's about cancel culture. It's about fake news in a Superman movie. But then again, Man of Steel and especially BVS brought up a lot of political themes as well. So why was it all right for those films to talk about certain things in the real world, but it's not all right for James Gunn's Superman film to do the same? So there's a little bit of hypocrisy there coming from the Snyder fans. In terms of everybody else, they just wanted a Superman 78 clone movie. But as I warned you months ago, that was never the film we were going to get. This Superman film was always going to be somewhat controversial. And we've discussed those red flags again and again and again. What do I think about this Black Superman movie being in development? Well, listen, it's nuts out there. It is crazy out there. The industry has gone mad. The world has gone mad. The world is divided. And here we go again. A black Clark Kent, Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, Superman. And I think if Michael B. Jordan plays him, it will be more palatable to me because I like Michael B. Jordan. I think Ryan Coogler is a very talented young director, so it would be an interesting project. It wouldn't be a project that I would immediately dismiss, but I think they're insane. I think they're insane. If this is true, I think they're absolutely insane. Now let's just spend the last 5 minutes of this video talking about this recent quote from James Gunn about Robert Pattinson not being the DCU Batman and not being part of their plans. Well, this rumour keeps on coming up. He announced a Batman Brave and the Bold movie on his slate. We've heard zero development. We don't know who's writing it. He's keeping that a secret, by the way. We don't know who's directing it, and we don't know who's supposed to be playing Batman. And then the Batman 2 keeps on stalling and delaying. So it's only natural for people to be a bit concerned. It's natural for people to spread misinformation and rumours. You've got two Batmen, and neither of them seem to have many legs in the development stage. So it's all hugely very, very suspicious. And my suspicion is that they don't know what to do. They don't want two Batmen. They're trying to find a way. Now, even though James Gunn says, it's not in the plans for Robert Pattinson to be, the DCU Batman, what does that mean? It's not in the plans. It wasn't in the plans. It is now. I think James Gunn wanted to marry the Reeveverse and the DCU Batman together. That has been my belief, and a lot of people have told me that my belief has a lot of truth to it. So I think that's what they wanted to do. And obviously, it's not something that Matt Reeves would want, and it's certainly, I don't think, something that Robert Pattinson would choose to do. But we will see, because it is my belief that, and I've said this before, that the DCU Batman will be revealed in James Gunn's Superman movie. So yet again, you've got James Gunn denying that Robert Pattinson will be in this movie. But you're not going to get any clarification quite yet on the Batman 2 or the DCU Batman. As I say, it's my belief we will know more after this Superman movie. I believe Batman will play a very small role. He won't do much. He'll probably turn up in a cameo or, a post-credit scene. But we will see the DCU Batman. Nobody's told me that, but it's my belief that Batman, the DCU Batman, will be revealed in Superman. And he denied that the DCU Batman would be in Superman, but I don't believe you, James. And I don't blame you. If you want to keep this as a surprise for us, that's a good thing. So I don't want everything spoiled. So it's interesting. Now, things like that, you're not going to get in test screenings. So if you're saying, well, Mick, why hasn't it been leaked on the test screenings? Well, they don't leak everything, by the way. But, a big secret like that, a big reveal like that wouldn't be in test screenings. There's no need, because they're going to do that. They're going to do, in terms of cameos, they're going to do whatever they want to do. They don't care what test audiences think about cameos and reveals. They've made their decisions. They're going ahead with those things, whether people want them to or not. So it is my belief that we will see the DCU Batman. The DCU Batman will be revealed in this Superman movie. It'll be very interesting if I'm right or wrong about that. So, when James Gunn says, well, Robert Pattinson as the DCU Batman isn't within our plans, and I ask, what are your plans, James? Do you have any plans? What's going on here? Because we've already had a press event where they've cancelled or gone back on a lot of things on the slate, which is very, very messy. Well, partly I think it's honest, and it's quite good that James Gunn's being honest, that this is not working out, that's not working out, so we're not doing this now, or it's taking a back seat. But this is the problem. If you don't announce a slate, if you don't tell people about the stuff coming up after Superman, you keep that to yourselves. He claims he had to do it because of leaks, but you're getting loads of leaks anyway. So what's a few more? But anyway, if you don't announce a proper slate, you don't have this pressure. If he doesn't announce a slate, we don't know that Brave and the Bold is coming. They should have never mentioned Andy Muschietti as the potential director of Brave and the Bold, because he's not even involved in the development of this movie. which means either he's just the director and he's just going to direct the movie like you would an episode of a TV show, or that he was never ever directing this movie as I predicted.